year, for the very first time, ESF students were invited to exhibit at Hong Kong's largest outdoor festival, Clockenflap. The music and arts event featured famous artists from around the world, including the Arctic Monkeys, the Cardigans, and our remarkable ESF students. Our talented creatives are from ESF West Island School, and they're studying BTEC Digital Design. Their project is a collection of imaginative, augmented reality posters with amazing animations that come to life when viewed through an app. Let's meet our brilliant design students and hear more about this once-in-a-lifetime learning opportunity.
Clockenflap is one of the coolest festivals in Hong Kong, so being asked to exhibit my design project was the greatest honor.
Knowing our design would be seen by so many people was totally amazing.
This exhibition was a really great opportunity for us to use the skills we've learned in class and bring it to life in a really exciting real-world situation.
The project was entirely student-led. Students worked exactly like industry professionals, which is what a BTEC is all about. They worked with creative thinking, organisational skills and leadership.
This project enabled us to demonstrate all the design skills we have learned at in school and also how to best communicate using color, graphics, type, and animation techniques. It was such a rewarding experience.
This was a fantastic opportunity to use the digital software available in the school.
I loved the creative process, and seeing our designs at the festival was an experience I would never forget.
Our teachers are incredibly supportive of us and encourage us to think outside of the box.
This project was an incredible learning experience. It let students express themselves creatively, confidently, and really refine their skills. We're so proud of all of our students. Hi everyone, welcome to this evening's webinar. This webinar is exclusive for digital design students and it's going to be a session hosted by Luke Simmons, who is our Senior International Officer of East Asia for UCA University in the UK. UCA University is the University for the Creative Arts. It offers some fantastic creative courses, especially linked to digital design. We've sent students there previously from West Island School, so we have some WIS alumni at UCA University. And at the end of tonight's webinar, there will be a chance to ask questions. So if you have any questions throughout the session, just drop them in the Q&A box as we go along, and then Luke and I will answer them at the end. So I'll just pass on to Luke.
Hello everyone, it's really lovely to be here. It's fairly early in the morning here in the UK. I hope you've had a good day. It was really inspiring watching that video of the work that you've been doing, and as Shanice said, UCA, the University of Creative Arts, is very interested in the potential for West Island School students to join us in the UK. And I'll be going through a brief presentation today, and as Shanice said, there are some questions I've already been given and I can answer, and then if you have any more questions, then we'll do our best to answer those at the end. And my contact details can be supplied, and I'm happy to talk to any of you in the future if you're interested in our courses. So, shall I start, Shanice?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me just bring up the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to run through a number of slides. I'm not a big fan of long and boring presentations, so I'm going to be fairly quick through some of the points. I'm going to focus on some of the key ideas and messages, but I will be providing this presentation to Shanice after today, so you can look at it again at your own time. So UCA is a fairly unique university in the UK because we only teach creative degrees. UCA doesn't teach history or engineering or science. All of the students studying with us are creative students from a various different courses, as you'll see shortly. The university is ranking very highly for student satisfaction. I'll talk a bit more about that. We are currently 2023, the Sunday Times third best university for specialist courses, and many of our different courses rank very highly. I would suggest you all follow UCA on social media, on TikTok and Insta and Facebook, and you will often see UCA students winning awards and entering competitions, which can be very inspiring. So where are we? If you've been to the UK, you've probably been to London. We are focused over 3 campuses. Our campus in Canterbury is the School of Architecture and Interior Design. Our school in Epsom, which is the closest to central London, is our School of Fashion, and also our business school. The business school teaches business courses, but they are focused on the creative arts. So they're not general business courses. They are focused on people who want to learn the business acumen to work within a creative field. And finally, we've got UCA Farnham on the left-hand side there, which teaches all of our other courses, including our games school, our fine arts school, our film school, and the School of Communications, where we teach such things as graphic design and illustration and user experience design. All 3 campuses are, you can get from the campus into central London in less than 1 hour by direct train. And we also have very good links to the 2 major airports if you fly into the UK. On the right-hand side there, we also have a long-standing relationship with Maidstone Television Studios. So students working in the film school on particular television production will actually have the chance to work on real UK daytime TV programs, which is very exciting. But as you can see, we're located very close to London in the southeast of England, which has the best weather. So firstly, our Farnham campus. I mentioned before the kind of courses we have here. It's our largest campus, so about half of our students study in Farnham. We have around 9,000 students currently at UCA, and 20 to 21% of those are international students. So any international students studying with us will have the chance to meet UK domestic students, but also the chance to meet students from all around the world. I know from what I've been told, we have interest in courses like games art and comic and concept art. Graphic design is popular as well as animation. So a lot of the courses that are quite popular in Hong Kong tend to happen at the Farnham campus. Farnham is very famous in the UK. When I drive into the campus, the road sign actually says World Craft Town. So as well as UCA being very focused on the creative arts, the local population are also very engaged with the creative arts. Farnham is known for arts and crafts and design. So our local population also are very engaged with our students' work. And when our students have their final degree shows, a lot of the local people are very enthusiastic and will come and see your work, which is really, really great. It's a fantastic location and atmosphere. The town itself is very small. It's not like Hong Kong, and it's a very old-fashioned town. It actually has a castle, but it has all the amenities that students need, and it's a very pleasant place to be studying courses. You can see a map of the campus here. We've got lots of accommodation actually on campus, which is really great. Most of the students that come internationally, if they're on a 3-year bachelor course, we really like our students to have their first year living on campus, which can mean that it takes very little time to walk from your room to where you're going to be studying in your studio space, which is really good for our international students. Epsom, I mentioned before, Epsom is famous for Epsom salts that you put in a bath to make you feel good, or also horse racing, strangely, but we are quite a prominent business in Epsom. And as I mentioned previously, the fashion courses and the business courses happen in Epsom. Like Farnham, Epsom is a very well-to-do area. It's very safe and it's very close, 40 minutes by direct train to central London. And again, the local population are very used to seeing students walking around the town. And as they're our fashion students, sometimes their clothes are unique, and you can recognize UCA students usually because they have bright hair color or very unusual clothes on. So yeah, it's fun to see. There's the campus again. Everything is contained in the campus. We have lots of local accommodation and all the facilities that we have in all our campuses. So libraries and student services and student unions and cafeterias as well. Finally, Canterbury. Canterbury is in the southeast corner of the UK in the county of Kent, which is known as the Garden of England. Canterbury is known for architecture, which is why we have our architectural school there, and we teach interior design and product design and environmental design. On the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the architectural studio space. Because UCA is not in central London, we have larger studios and we have more accommodation available on campus. If a student wants to study in central London, sometimes they can spend a lot of time traveling from their accommodation to their campus. And not only does it take time, but it can be quite expensive. So our students can go into London in less than an hour every weekend to enjoy London, to visit galleries, to visit exhibition space, to study brands, to work on their networking. But then they can return to our 3 campuses in a very calm environment with lots of space. So we think it's a really, really good way to study. Canterbury, again, you can see everything is tied into one self-contained campus with all the facilities that students need, from renting materials and using library space and study space. And there's also, as with all of the 3 campuses, lots of people that can help international students. So we have a welfare team, we have a learning support teams. So any issues that our students have, they will always find people who can help and advise. And we like our students, and we're very proud of making our students very, very welcome. Okay, type of courses. So as I mentioned, only creative courses. Now, the impact there is that every student you will meet at UCA, everybody you'll sit next to in the cafeteria, everybody you pass in the corridors will all be creative in some form. They might be an architect, they might be training to be a photographer, they might be working on new app games, but they'll all be very creative. And one of the other aspects of UCA is that during a 3-year degree, our students will often work with other students on projects where a graphic design student might work with a fine arts student and a film student on a singular project. So there's a lot of engagement between the different creative areas, which is almost like the workplace, because it's very important to UCA. We want to prepare you for a career in the creative arts. Okay, that's a major fundamental part of UCA, is that we actually want you to have a career when you have your degree. You may go on to master's study, you may then go into employment, but it's a really important thing for us that our students are networking, meeting people in industry, and really working towards a career, a successful career in the creative arts. I've actually highlighted in bold some of the subject areas that I believe are quite popular, potentially with West Island school students. And I can always send more information directly about certain courses and discuss those with you as well. Okay, so entry requirements for our undergrad programs. So we do look at UCAS HKDSE results, but we also accept the IB diploma and the IBCP stream. As Shanice mentioned, we've had applications in the past. Our application process is in 2 stages. So student applicants will make an application using the UCA website, and initially will receive an acknowledgement from the admissions team and a request for academic evidence, so IBCP results or transcripts, together with English skills. And once they've been reviewed by the admissions team, then we would write a second request for a portfolio. So students on everything except business and foundation courses will supply a portfolio. I'll talk a little bit more about portfolios later in the presentation. So just to mention, we also do postgrad courses for students who've completed a bachelor's course and want to maintain their academic studies onto master level. And we also offer foundation years and pre-master's years as well. So we take people from pre-bachelor courses right through to research posts as well. Pre-master's courses detailed there. I'm not going to spend too long on these courses, but I can provide the information if needed. Okay. So undergrad courses, we also provide pre-sessional English. So if students are slightly below the English requirement, which is not that usual from Hong Kong, but if students are struggling slightly, then we can offer short English courses just to help students get to the right level. So that's just something we do offer. So UCA is divided into schools. That's the best way to look at it. And I'm going to briefly go through each school, and maybe you can identify some courses that might be of interest for you. First of all, the School of Fine Art, Crafts and Photography, some example of some students' work there. And our courses range from fine art to jewelry making, to silversmithing, to photography, visual communications. So those are the types of courses from our fine art school. Second one is our Canterbury Architecture School. And that's where students will be studying architecture and various design degrees based around architecture and interior design and urban design. School of Communications. So this is graphic design and illustration, which in the past have been very popular with students from Hong Kong. We also have interactive design and user experience design as well. So it's a very popular school. It's probably the largest school we have. However, as with most of the courses, we have a limit of under 10,000 students that study with us. So the amount of contact that our BA students have with technicians, with academics every week, even in a one-to-one basis, is very, very strong. So we're really proud that students who come to UCA get a lot of time with academics and with technicians to work on projects and to work on their final project. Okay, School of Fashion. I'll jump through there. There's the main school. School of Fashion is very busy. That's in Epsom. So if you're any interest in fashion at all or business courses, then you would be in Epsom studying at our School of Fashion. Also in Farnham, the School of Film. And that's anything from film production to becoming an actor, to looking at music and becoming a music artist, and also our animation courses and visual effects, which I know is very popular in Hong Kong as well. I was very impressed with the augmented reality video earlier on. So yeah, we've got all that kind of thing going on at UCA as well. The School of Games and Technology, that's where all of our AI, VR and AR projects are going on. We've got what we call an incubator zone. So sometimes our bachelor students who've come up with a very clever idea for a new game or a new app could potentially be offered an internship with UCA to develop that idea. The School of Games has recently won a lot of investment from the British government. It's probably our most increasing school in terms of activity, in terms of student numbers. It's a very exciting time to be involved in that area of games and technology, because there's a lot of potential for employment after you've studied these courses, because there's a real skills gap trying to keep up with the development of the technology. So you could learn all of those new things and get yourself a good job. School of Games again, games art, digital art, virtual and augmented reality, which I know will be of real interest to you guys. Games art and also comic and concept art. All those students will work together quite often on projects together because they need each other's skills. So it's a very exciting place to work. UCA has lots of links to big businesses on our courses, and the students will attend exhibitions and present their work and enter competitions, and it's a very exciting area that I hope you get involved in. We also, maybe way off in the distance, we've got a doctoral college where you could do a PhD. I won't spend too much time on that now, but I very much hope some of you end up doing those kind of courses. And we've also got an international college. So this is for students who wanted to do a foundation year or a pre-master's course before they go on to a master's. And I've also mentioned very briefly the business school. So if you were looking to create your own business, be it in music or fashion or something like that, or you wanted to learn the business acumen so you could go and work for a company and understand the company from a business point of view, we have business courses available as well. Okay, very important part of being at UCA. One thing I want you to take away today is the understanding, and looking at the video earlier, UCA courses are anywhere from 70 to 80% practical. So students that study at UCA will spend far more time in studio space, working on projects, working in groups, working on their own, working on their final project. Much more time is spent in there than you're going to be sitting in lectures taking notes, which I'm sure for a lot of you will be a nice thing to hear. We have guest lecturers, we do field visits, we've got live industry briefs. So companies will approach UCA. We've got lots of long-standing relationships, and companies will come and ask our students, even students starting on bachelor courses, to take part in live industry briefs and actually work on real projects. And we also love our students to enter competitions. If you follow UCA on social media, as I mentioned previously, you will constantly see people entering competitions, winning competitions. It can be really inspiring. And from the work that I saw in your video earlier, we would love you to join UCA and then maybe exhibit your work and enter competitions. And that would be great for your CV and great for your future career as well. Here's a quick screen. This is not all of them, but this are some of the British companies and international companies that we work with and that we've done projects with, and you may recognize some of these. You can see a lot more on the UCA website, but as I mentioned before, it's very, very important, as well as being very practical courses, a fundamental part of studying with UCA is networking, is having you meet people in industry, is making connections, is exchanging business cards, is working with companies. The academics and the technicians may still be working in industry, or they will have worked previously. They will have their own connections, and we really want students at UCA making connections and potential for internships, potential for employment. It's a fundamental part of studying at UCA is to get you connected to industry and really look towards a successful career for you in the creative arts. For bachelor's courses, there is also the option to take a year and do some work. So after the second year, you could have the option, and UCA would arrange this, we would have the option for you to actually go and work for year 3 in industry, wherever your passion lies, whether that's graphic design or comic and concept art. And then you would return to UCA for your final year, which would therefore be a 4th year, and you would work on your final project. So some students will choose that as an option as well. Okay, portfolios. So some of my students tend to worry about portfolios. They are nothing to worry about. We're looking for a story of your journey to now, and why the BA that you're choosing to do is the natural next step in your development as an artist. Okay, you can get some fantastic details on the portfolio section of the UCA website. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you type in graphic design portfolio into the YouTube channel, you will find a video that will give you some really good practical advice in putting together a portfolio. And also, just to say, for West Island School students, if you make an application to UCA, I'm very happy for you to send your portfolio to me personally before you upload it, and I will give you feedback. And I've got a colleague called Yvonne, who is our academic manager, and she will also look at the portfolio and give you some feedback to give you the confidence that your putting forward a good portfolio for your application. So that's something we will extend to West Island school students. Tuition fees, we'll leave that for mum and dad. We won't spend too long on that screen. I will mention scholarships. So there are scholarships that you can apply for. It happens through the website again. So if you are lucky enough to be granted an offer with UCA, you can then make an application for a scholarship. Scholarships are simply a team of people who will then look at your portfolio again and consider you for one of our scholarships. So by all means, if you're interested, we would encourage you to apply for a scholarship. Accommodation, this is a very important part of your student life. And as you saw from the maps and the campus maps I showed you earlier, UCA has a lot of accommodation on campus because we are slightly outside central London. However, as with most universities, accommodation can go very quickly. So it's good to try to apply as early as you can. However, we do reserve some rooms, particularly for the Hong Kong market, because sometimes students are making their decisions quite late on. But as I said at the start, I'd love you, if you join us for your bachelor's degree, I would love you to be on campus for your first year. I think that would help with your studies and getting to know the campus and just feeling very secure when you arrive. So I can help with that process as well. Okay, some more details. I won't go into the fees of the accommodation, and it's just a reminder to apply nice and early, but you can see some more images of the rooms that we've got as well. Okay, graduate stories. Again, social media, the UCA website, there are lots of examples of our students who have returned to their home country and have won competitions and have gained great employment. Here's an example of Henry, who was a BA architecture student who won a competition when he returned to Hong Kong. And we've got a variety of other examples of our bachelor students doing some amazing work and being recognised for their work, working on films and film production, and our games art studio. So our students have taken concepts right through to being produced as games, which is really exciting and great for the students and for the university. We're also quite well known for people being very successful in the film industry, for example. So the director of Star Wars Rogue One was a graduate at UCA. You may recognize this cartoon character was created by Mark Baker, who was also an animation student at UCA many years ago. I'm assuming you will know Where's Wally. Martin Hamford was also a UCA graduate, and I think that's probably hit most of the countries in the world by now. I have a video, but I'm not going to play it today. It's going to be sent as a link to you following this event, and then you can view that at your own. It's only a couple of minutes long, but it's a really good example because it contains students' work, so their final degree show work from the last 2 years. So everything's very, very recent, but just to make you aware, it's all students' work, which is, again, can be really, really inspiring. So I'm going to stop sharing there, and I'm going to go through a couple of the questions that I've already had, Shanice, if that's okay.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Sounds awesome. Can I come and do a degree?
I know. Yeah, when you see the video, that's when it gets really exciting, because I look at it and think, how have they done that? But I thought that when I saw people holding their phones up to the work that the WIS students had done in the video at the start. So yeah. I had a few questions. One was, how early should a student apply? Mm-hmm. And my answer to that question is always as soon as they possibly can. I'm aware that Hong Kong, sometimes students have to wait for exam results, and we are aware of that. And the university does allow for that process in terms of visa applications and accommodation. But if you can do it as early as possible, that's the advice I would generally give. My main concern for students is I want them to be on campus for their first year. And so I just say, do it as soon as you can. Try and get the application in as early as you can. Send the portfolio to me as early as you can. We can check it, give some advice, and then get the applications in as early as possible. I also had a question, which was any specific aspect on what the university is looking for in a student. which was a really good question. So talented students, we're really proud to have about 20% of our students come from all over the world: Latin America, Europe, Asia, East Asia, South Asia. Every single student brings something different to the table. And one of the great things about our international students is, from whatever country they're from, they bring a unique talent and a unique way of looking at projects. Enthusiasm. I have a constant pressure from our academics on all of the courses to have more students from Hong Kong, because they're good students, they work hard, their talent is obviously there to see, and the work they create is really good. So I think it's just students who genuinely are looking to make a career in the creative arts and have that passion inside them. I think that's probably the main thing. And that's why the most important thing is the portfolio, really. Students will do a personal statement and they will send details of their academic background and their English skills, but the academics really want to look at the work and how you've arrived at the work. So one of the things I'm always suggesting to students, if you're creating now, if you are sketching, sculpting, drawing, taking photographs, keep all of that you're doing and put that in your portfolio. Show your development. Students sometimes don't want to include sketches they've drawn because they think they're not very good. Include the sketches, show your development, show your journey. And that's really important, to show the passion you have for the course that you're applying for. So that's a word of advice I would give. Next question was, is it possible to switch degree courses if you are unhappy after a few months? My answer to that would be yes, if it's a related course. So sometimes we've had students on graphic design who've actually decided that their passion is illustration, and we've had them transfer. Jumping from a film course over to a jewelry making course might be a jump that the university would want to know why. And it would really mean that they reflect back on your portfolio. So it is possible, but I think that the course subject would need to be fairly similar. This is my answer for there. Somebody also suggested, can you take 2 degrees? I don't know why you'd want to, because one's hard enough. So I would say probably no. You can take extra courses in the evenings, you can do your own study, excuse me, but most students need to focus on that 1 degree.
Do you do electives like alongside the degree?
Yeah, so what would happen is during the first year, even on something like a graphic design course, for example, students in that first year will try a lot of different techniques, a lot of different areas. They will mix with students from other areas. It may impact on their own work and the way that they work and the techniques that they use. So these won't be very restrictive courses. They will allow students to develop their skills, because that's the main reason you join us. You've done some work up to now, but we want to teach you to do that work better, or to find new ways of working. So, being flexible is very encouraging. The technicians and the academics will really help you to develop and follow the passion that you have and where it is that you want to be. Students come out at the end of the 3rd year, sometimes doing a final show that's wildly different to the one they expected to do when they started the course. And UCA will help you find that area that you're going to be really, really encouraged to do.
Great.
I also, Shanice, I had sorry.
Sorry, we have some other questions as well in the chat. We've got
okay.
questions. Is it okay if I fire them out to you?
Fire away.
Okay, so question 1, would you recommend a foundation year even if the student has experience studying art or graphic design? What are the pros and cons of a foundation year? Is it a different application process?
It's a great question. I would normally suggest that foundation students are usually one of 2 types. They're either a student who has not previously done much art and design work, and they're thinking of embarking on a creative career, so they'd like to try a number of different topics, a number of different creative areas to see where their passion really lies. Or it may be somebody who has worked in certain areas before, but they're not absolutely convinced of the area they want to focus on. So, for example, a student might not really know whether they want to do graphic design, illustration, or animation. And they may want to do a foundation program so they can try those and actually discover where their real passion lies. So I think the foundation courses are probably for those two. The courses themselves, a foundation course at UCA, the initial semester will be just trying loads of different skills, from life drawing to sculpting to jewelry making to graphic design, typography design. You'll test a lot of different areas, and then slowly through semester 2 and the start of the 3rd semester, students will decide where they want to focus on their final show. And their final show would guarantee them a place on a bachelor's course. So, for example, if they decide to focus on graphic design and they successfully complete the foundation, then UCA would guarantee them an offer on the BA graphic design course.
Yeah, great. But also, if they already have a portfolio of that type of work, they could go straight onto the BA, potentially.
If they've got a credible portfolio, then I see no reason not to apply directly for a course if they're sure of the area they want to study. And if a student's work wasn't quite good enough, UCA would naturally offer them a foundation course anyway.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So is strength in maths important for the architecture course?
Very simple answer. No. It's helpful. You know, physics, maths, that kind of background is very helpful. However, it is not a deal breaker. I was talking to Colin Holden, is the head of the School of Architecture, and I had lunch with him recently, and he was telling me about a student who'd sent in a portfolio and had sent in a plan drawing and a photograph, and he actually understood more about the applicant from the photograph they'd sent in than he did from the plan drawing that he reviewed, because the photograph gave him an idea of the student's eye and how they viewed the world and how they viewed buildings. And that was far more impressive to the director of the architectural school than the perfect plan drawing. So it really depends on a variety of things. It can help, but it's certainly not a barrier if you don't come from that kind of background.
Again, portfolio for architecture when you apply, yeah.
You do need one. And again, if you go onto the YouTube channel and you type in portfolio architecture, you'll see probably a video of Colin telling you exactly what to put in one, how to put it together, how many pages, how many projects. So I can also provide some really good feedback for that as well.
Okay, great. So you mentioned interaction between students in projects, but we've got a couple of questions about like some students, if they wanted to study graphic design and do some business classes or something alongside it.
I can see,
across schools and do anything different.
I saw Pascal's question. Genuinely, people will stay within their own campus. Certainly they may meet, you know, people and decide off their own back to meet students from other areas. But genuinely, if you're studying fine art in Farnham, then if you want to lean into other areas, you're surrounded by the film area, the School of Communications and Games and silversmithing. I think you'll find people on campus but there's no reason why you wouldn't decide to meet halfway with a student who's studying fashion if that became part of your study in terms of what you were going to produce as your final program. It may be that one of our students who's studying fashion design in Epsom really wants to lean on a fine artist to design a pattern for their clothes, and that could happen. So yeah, we would encourage our students to mix.
Great. Do you involve AI and use of AI? Obviously it's quite new currently, but is there any AI use in lessons or in courses?
In the games school, and I'm not going to try and pretend I understand it, but every time I walk in and do tours of the games school, I see people with headsets on and walking around blindly. There's every technology you could hope to find. And yes, they're all an integral part of the courses, and students get to use all of that. Because UCA is very specific in the fact that it only does creative courses, then our investment is very much in terms of the modern technology. But look, we've also got a printing press in the graphic design school that's 130 years old. So we've got a mixture of the very modern. In the film school, we've got the new, we're one of the only universities with the new LED technology that was used and is used now for things like Mandalorian, whereas it used to be green screen, it's now LED driven, and we have that technology. So whatever is needed in terms of AR and VR it's all going to be there for students to experience and to learn how to use, because that's where the work, the future jobs are coming. So we really, as I said before, I'm repeating myself, but we want our students to get jobs. So that's an area that's developing, as you know, so quickly. So yes, we will want our students on certain courses using that tech.
And just to add to that, from a West Island school perspective, we are covering AI in digital design because it's part of the Adobe suite now. They've started adding lots of AI features, so students learn that on the level 3 course quite a lot now currently as well. What else did we have? Oh, is there a creative writing course or anything?
We've got screenwriting courses in the film school. So people who wanted to write in that format, yes, we do. But I think it's actually limited to the film school.
Okay. But yeah, students that are interested in English and creativity, that would be like the school to go to, I guess. The film school, yeah.
That's right. It's a film school and acting, but also sound production and learning to be a member of a band or whatever. So yeah.
Is there a difference in accepting students from IBDP and IBCP if they both have the same good level of portfolio?
Absolutely not. The students are going to send through the same portfolios. They're going to send through the same examples of what they've done academically in the past. And I did mention to you all a couple of times that the portfolio and the work and the passion that the academics can see from what you've done so far outweighs A, B, C in terms of what you've got. There are minimum requirements, and excuse me, it would certainly be on a case by case. But I think for people who show a strong portfolio, and of course I'm willing to help with that, I think on a case by case, if you've got a good portfolio and you've got real passion for what you're intending to study, I see no reason why you wouldn't be successful.
Great. And final one is, in terms of electives, are there electives that are offered like as add-ons to degree courses?
I think that there's going to be so much going on within the first year and 2 years of a degree course. You won't need extra electives. You'll be so focused on learning, refining the techniques already, learning new techniques, working with people from other disciplines. I don't think you'll have the time. I think you'll be really focused on your course, on developing your body of work, on working towards your final degree. Look, you can do night school, you can do online courses, of course, but I think our focus for you as a bachelor student would be focus on finding where your passion lies, working towards your final degree show, and successfully coming out with not a piece of paper, but a body of work that you can show an employer, or you can return home to Hong Kong and actually show practical examples of the work you've achieved.
Yeah, and I think as well, I know that I've spoke to students and parents about placement years before, but a placement year is so valuable. If you want to learn about business alongside design, go on a placement year. That's where you're going to learn it, not in a lecture.
You can do. I mean, a placement year is fantastic, but also the studio space and the fact that a student on a graphic design course would be working in a studio space with an illustrator and somebody on a foundation degree and somebody maybe studying for a PhD. It's almost like a work environment anyway. And as I mentioned, 70 to 80% of the students' time will be practically in studio space. So it's almost like a work environment anyway. However, a placement year is a wonderful way of meeting a company and really immersing yourself in that kind of work environment. Yeah.
Great. So I think that is all the questions from the Q&A. But that was brilliant. Thank you so much, Luke. So we are going to share these slides with parents with all the details in, and also the video as well. I will link as well, everybody, the YouTube channel for UCA. It's got tons of videos on there. So loads and loads of great videos about the courses, the campus, the portfolios specific to each specialism.
And the accommodation as well. There's lots of great videos on there about that.
Yeah, and then if we have any further questions, I can always fire them to you.
Absolutely. I'm happy to help.
Great. Okay, amazing. Thank you. Well,
You're
thanks
very
for
welcome.
your time, and thank you to the parents and the students for your time. Have a nice evening.
Thanks very much, everyone. Really great talking with you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.